to the gang violence that was run rampant throughout the U.S. in the late 70s and the 80s.
Well, really, it could be brought
That's
down.
what started.
We could say he really has no right anyway, because the case that kicked off the whole thing was the Trayvon, whatever his name was, case in Toronto.
Yes.
Trayvon Williams or whatever, which was the big... It was the gas on the fire that started this whole thing. It wasn't even an American case.
No, I thought his was about that fucking big black guy that was fucking shot unarmed in the back. Not running from the cops, but just like walking away. And they shot him when they knew he was unarmed. He didn't have any weapon on him, and they shot him. Yeah. I thought that's what started that.
I'm pretty sure it was... Well, there were so many that happened at the same time.
Yeah.
I could be a little less right on that one. But I'm pretty sure it was the Trayvon Williams. He was just a kid. That was stupid.
Yeah.
But the whole thing's stupid. I mean, god damn it. Like, you would think at some point the police would send out a memo just for the optics. Say, hey guys, can we go a week without shooting a black kid? Please. Or at the very least,
and all they see is...
kids. Like, come on.
And all the cops ended up reading was, week with shooting black kids. Okay.
Yeah. Like, how can they not put their heads together and with the internet, with Zoom, with any sort of like group chatting ability, and say, hey guys, can we lay off the black kids for a week? Like, seriously.
Well, that's what I don't understand is how could you be a white cop specifically, and any time when you're dealing with a black person by any stretch of any imagination, how do you not approach that with a lot more extra caution than you would under any other circumstance? Because you have to know that everything's going to be recorded. Everything's to be. They seem to not really, because they continue to do this for a long time.
They just shoot them as they walk up, and then they don't have to worry about them being a problem.
Yeah.
Which, extra cautious.
I can't argue that. If I shoot him now,
it probably won't do much later. Look at the one shot him in the passenger seat in his girlfriend's car or whatever.
Yeah, that was a fucking insane one.
Like, you'd think they could at least be smart about it. Pay the one black cop on the force to do it at least once to look good, right?
Yeah. But even then, like, the movie, what was that fucking movie?
Crash?
No. With, Ice Cube was in it.
Oh, I
and
don't know.
Cuba Gooding Jr. Fuck, it was such a good fucking movie. All takes place in South Central Los Angeles.
Was it South Central?
No.
Boys in the Hood.
Ice Cube.
Menace to Society.
Cuba. Boys in the Hood.
Oh god, you couldn't think of Boys in the Hood?
No, I couldn't think of any Boys in the Hood, which is strange because it's a fucking great song by NWA.
Yeah, we just got over mourning the unfortunate passing of John Singleton.
That's right. Yeah, like, because like in that movie, there's that one scene where in Cuba Gooding Jr.'s big scene in that movie, where he's where the cop pulls him over. And cop's giving him all this attitude, and then it's a black cop, and he's like, you'd be one less nigga on the street. Like, full out of says it.
Yeah.
And it's that whole systemic racism that comes off of that, which is that, now you've got the black cops still, which is what ended up waking about, black police showing out for the white cops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can't even send out a black cop to do the job of the white cops, because it's still deemed as racist.
No, I was saying, but you can find one nerdy black cop to shoot a couple of black kids and try to make it look better for yourselves.
Yeah.
It's PR. It's all PR. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares that kids are getting shot.
No.
Just throw in a couple of different races. Go off a couple of Chinese kids. Something. Figure it out.
I still love the fact that in body count, when the line that Ice-T says, do you know what would happen if the cops showed up in your backyard and shot a bunch of kids? Shit would hit the fan, motherfucking. It would hit real hard.
Yeah.
It's still so true, because if a cop showed up and killed a white kid in a white neighborhood that was unarmed for no reason, people would lose their minds, the cop would lose his job, and that'd be it.
Oh, without a doubt.
Black kid shows up walking around doing nothing with a cell phone in his fucking hand, gets fucking shot.
Yeah.
And
up to no good.
Yeah, he's clearly up to no good because he's a black man walking
like
around.
He made a gang symbol.
Yeah. Because he waved.
No, his hand cringed like that when the bullet severed his spine. It's not gang symbols. That's a nervous reaction to your spine splitting from the 9mm shell you just put through it, you freak. 90% of the people that are cops shouldn't be. And I promise you, gun to their head, 75% of them got into it so they could shoot people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Harold and Kumar nailed it best in their movie. You got in this because you were a fucking bully in high school, and then you became nobody, and you realized that nobody gave a shit about you, so you became a cop so you could fuck with immigrants. Is that true? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, all of them. Here in Vancouver, they throw a couple Chinese guys on the force to make it look not like that, but they're the most racist pricks in there, so it's it's brutal. They're just there's some good cops out there, and I've dealt with them, but they're definitely in a vast minority.
Milton used to have the best cops. I mean, I love the cops at Milton. They were nice.
Well,
they didn't do anything, and then everything changed one year when there was this one fucked up cop that he showed up at my house one night because okay, so full disclosure. I'm going to tell the story. I'll set the whole fucking parameter up right.
I know this story, I believe.
So I had a bunch of people over, and I was 19 at the time, and there were like 4 people that were at my house that were under the age of 19. There's guys, for the record. We're all just hanging out, just having a bunch of drinks. They were brothers of friends of guys that were here. And we're all sitting there just everybody's drinking, so we got underage drinking going on. I also had, like, a giant bag of fucking weed in my basement at the time, like a fucking half-pound of weed.
And anyway, the age of girls I date, no, prohibition was still not a thing when we were 19. So, okay.
That's right. So I'm out front of my parents' house. Now, for those that don't know, my house is, which would be everybody, my house is on face of the road, which is called Highway 25, so it's like a main artery in Milton. And my parents own a monument company. So in the front of our, like right beside my parents' house is the monument company. In the front of the monument company is a whole bunch of monuments all set up as displays. And so me and a buddy of mine, Chris, were fucking arguing one night. We got into a fucking argument. Not fighting and all, just yelling at, just mad at each other, yelling at whatever the fuck we were arguing about. And this, as we were arguing, this cop rolled up. So I saw us raising our voice. Cop rolled up. Gets out of his car, and he's like, basically, who are you? And I'm like, get the fuck off my property. This is my house. I didn't invite you on here. Fuck off and leave. And so he keeps pushing the issue with me. So I said, you're not even in uniform, because he wasn't wearing his hat. So I made him go back out to his car to get his hat, which pissed him right off.
Gee, I wonder why.
Right? So he comes back, and he's like, let me see your ID. So I go into the house, and I tell everybody in the house, like, everybody stay the fuck in the house. Got cops outside. If he comes in here, we're all fucking charged. I'm not getting arrested for this shit, so stay the fuck in the house. So I grab my ID, I come out, and when I come out, now there's 5 cops in front of my house, squad cars all over the front of the house, and there's fucking lights flashing. And my buddy Chris is sitting on one of the monuments. He's just sitting on it, right? Now, these things are set. Like, they're not falling over for nothing, right? And this cop who was giving me the attitude, as soon as I come out there, I hand him my ID, and he turns to me, goes, take your beer and go inside. I'm like, go fuck yourself. I'm 19. I'm legally allowed to drink. This is my house, my property. You can get the fuck out of here. You prove there's nothing going on, so get out of here. And another cop turns to my buddy and says, hey, you better get off of that monument before he falls over. That's going to cost you like a couple $100. And I'm like, first of all, that monument's worth about $4,000, and it ain't falling over. Cop I was initially arguing with turns to me and goes, oh, you think you're a smart ass, you know these things? I'm like, yeah, who the fuck do you think put it there, you jackass? Get the fuck off my property. So argument continues to ensue. They end up leaving. On the following Monday, so this is on a Saturday night, so on the Monday morning, I'm at work because I work in the cemetery, and sure enough, this fucking cop drives through the cemetery just to see if I was actually working, to see if I was telling the truth. So when he drives by, I'm literally in the middle of telling my boss the whole story, and I'm like, that's the cop, and I point to him like, that's the fucking cop. So I'm sitting there at work, and I'm giving the cop the finger. Well, it's funny.
Yeah, sure.
And from that point on, anytime because I didn't have a license back then, I knew I'd be drinking and driving, so I never got my driver's license until I was 25. So when I would leave my house and go to somebody's house, and I'd walk, this cop would pull me over, throw me over the back of his car, and fucking search me illegally. And he kept doing it. And then after about the third search, he would start, like, because he's like, where you headed? I'm like, I'm going to a fucking record store down on Main Street. And then he'd throw me in the back of his car and then drive me to the record store and then sit out in front of the record store for like an hour and a half just to make sure that that's what I was doing. So this is drawing bad business to my buddy. Why you having cops sitting in front of your business and all this other shit. So the last time that he did it, I turned around and I went home that night and I fucking told my old man, I'm like, this fucking cop, and I told my dad the whole story. And he's like, look, as much as you're being an asshole to him the first time, he's got no right to grab you and search you for no reason. So my dad ended up lodging a formal complaint. It got ignored because they wouldn't even write the complaint down.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even file an official report. So when I went home and told my dad that they wouldn't even file the report, my dad went with me. And because my dad knew people in the police force. And then they started taking notice.
Right.
The same cop got me one more time after that. And as soon as he pulled up beside me, he's like, assume the position. I said to him, you've got two options. I said, keep your job and drive away. I said, or fucking lay one hand on me. I said, I'm going to get you out of this fucking force so fast your head will spin. He's like, really? Throws me on the back of his car, rips my jacket off, goes through my whole fucking jacket, searches me, the whole 9 yards, throws me in the back of the car. The window was down, so I just hopped out the window. As soon as he threw me in the back of the car, I hopped out the window. I said, you have no legal standing. If you do any of this to me, it's illegal. You'll be here with my lawyer. He took me to the record store where I was going to because they refused to let me go. And I called my dad. My dad drove to the record store, walked out to the cop car, and said, now that I got your fucking face, you're out of the job. And the guy lost his job within 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, my old man freaked. He is pissed because the reason it wasn't that my dad was necessarily standing up for my rights. My dad knew that I would end up in jail because I would end up fucking doing something horrible to this fucking cop for fucking with me.
Right. So
my dad was doing it more true protection against me for me because he knew that I was going to do something stupid about this.
That's good of your dad to do. Anybody want to share their unfortunate interactions with the police type stories? Eric@ericgord.com, Gord@ericandgord.com, and you can also join my very neglected other podcast just the other day that was going to focus specifically on these issues. But as could be expected, people are pretty reluctant to be recorded talking about the people that harass them every day for no reason.
Now, on the other hand, by the way, I would like to actually hear if anybody has a positive cop story, because I've got tons of great cop stories where cops had great interactions with them, had positive experiences with them, where they have actually done their job, they've done good things. I would also like to hear that. I don't just want to hear. There's enough stories about fucking shitty cops. We all know they exist. I would like to hear something good about what something done the cops have done. That would be great.
Interactions with the cops. One thing you got to remember is cops are mirrors. You will get exactly what you give them.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's true.
Try to keep a cool head about you, and things will go most of the time quite a bit better for you. Or just don't do crime. That's always a good option too.
Yeah, that seems to work really well.
I don't seem to have the problems that a lot of my friends do. I also have a completely clean criminal record.
See, when it comes to me with experiences with cops, like, I've had a couple of bad experiences. I've had 3 bad experiences. 2 were directly related to my actions. I fully understand it, whatever. But the one that I shared on the air the one night when I was in downtown Toronto at a nightclub where the cop fucking made me kick a fucking dude for no reason.
Right.